A lot of men aren't going to want to hear this, but men have completely warped the idea of provide and protect into something that is basically unrecognizable under those terms. The original meanings of words like provide and protect offer the idea of being in service to. That means men would be in service to women and children, providing for and protecting the life givers and the future of humanity. But under white capitalist patriarchy, men have completely warped provide and protect into a mechanism for control and dominance, and have made it conditional, providing for and protecting only what they have perceived ownership of, including women and children. And as a result, men provide for themselves and protect their own self-interests instead of providing for and protecting women and children. A lot of indigenous cultures know the value of providing for and protecting women and children, the life bearers and the future of humanity. But because of white capitalist patriarchy and the colonized mind, men who uphold these principles will only end up being abandoned by society.
Well, a lot of queens aren't going to want to hear this, but men listened when you said you are strong and independent and don't need no man. Then they all said, you got this, queen. They dropped the deuces and left all of you hard-charging boss babes to your own devices. Why are you complaining now that men only protect the ones that are dear to them? With independence comes responsibility. Stop crying and start taking some for yourself. The ones I made it conditional were all of you womanists who didn't want men telling you how to live, even when they were trying to keep you safe. Oh, how the weeping and the moaning comes right out when they actually need a man. Sister, let me put it this way. Your personal safety is not my responsibility or the responsibility of any man. It is your own responsibility. It's funny how she finds it convenient to mention indigenous cultures as some kind of example to enforce her argument when womanism came about to precisely fight the traditional female roles that are predominant in indigenous cultures. I guess this queen thinks she can pick and choose when traditional roles are to be applied to her.
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Before we move on, I want to bring attention to the fact that 79% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel. Come on, fam. You've seen my logo on other channels, and you're already here. Please hit that subscribe button and support the channel. It really helps out. Moving on.
I have a serious question for the men on Hinge. When you're on Hinge and you connect with someone and you like their photos, and then you literally don't spark up a conversation, and it just sits there like you guys matched, but like you never say anything. What is the point of that? I just need to know. Like, are you looking for a pen pal? Like, do you just want someone to write to you? Because, like, normally, like, dating is usually where you would, like, reach out to someone and then be like, hey, like, maybe we should grab dinner or drinks sometime. Like, you know, where do you live? What do you like to do? Do you just want to see, like, how many people you can match with without even speaking? Or then I have people who just literally talk to me and then never ask me to meet up with them. I'm just worried about, like, what's going on. Like, what is the point of that? Do you want a pen pal? Like, you...
It really never gets old. I mean, channels like mine will say it over and over again, but all you empowered queens will always do the exact same thing. And as Albert Einstein put it, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I mean, ladies, I'm about to say something that will shock you. It may even cause a short circuit. So please, sit down. Okay, the reason those men on the dating apps act this way and don't respond to you is because the bulk of all of you are going for the same guy. And if you are getting ignored, it's because he has other options he is pursuing.
Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing because you are special and you aren't going to settle and you deserve better. Well, look at it this way. Because of the way you ladies swipe right, the chances of all of you sharing the same sausage is higher than average. Now, I know you ladies will justify your selections and say that you don't care if you end up with an apartment full of cats and empty boxes of wine. Sure, that is exactly the reason all of you have those dating profiles up and running. Moving on.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore, or don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first.
When did it become a thing? That would be right around the time where that I can do anything a man can do movement went mainstream, and even the dating apps caught on by only allowing women to make the first move. Equality, sister, preach! But to quote Franklin Leonard, when you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. And she's completely wrong when she says a relationship doesn't work unless the guy likes the girl more.
Erroneous! Erroneous!
Thanks for playing there, Queen. Nope. Do I have to say why?
How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
It's because the majority of the times, women are the ones who break up relationships and walk away. The one who is least invested is the one who finds it easier to decide they have to go find themselves back on the carousel. And her mom's era is not her era. Let's be honest. To try and place antiquated dating requirements on modern dating is about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Sorry, Colleen, you ladies got the dating market you demanded, where you can date as free as a man. And now you are complaining about what you got? Hey, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle on this one. If anything, the ones who won were the players.
How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance, and my mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gotten married, they would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her out on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just planned the whole thing. He wrote her poetry. He was yearning. How my aunt and my uncle met. My aunt was a dancer on a cruise ship, and he was the photographer, and he was persistent. She overheard him one night saying to his buddy, he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. He had just met her, and now they're married and they have 2 kids together. I don't hear anything like that now. Now we're praising eye contact. Now we're praising if a guy held a door open to us and smiled. That is what we're praising. It feels so backwards. I just wonder when it shifted, because I feel like that is the whole downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone now, because men just don't care anymore.
Oh, that story of her dad being persistent so much warms my heart. And it's almost tragic how this young queen can't see the obvious reasons men actually listen when women say go away. In today's dating world, all a woman has to do is pull out that cell phone, record the guy being persistent, and put him on blast with a cancel request. Next thing you know, the guy is fired and has to start over. And you want men to risk this to make your feels tingle? Oh, boo-hoo, men just don't care anymore, as women ignore 80% of men and all are wanting those top-tier men. It's been said several times, don't trust what a woman says, trust her actions. Sure, a woman will say, I want a good man, while she has Chad/Tyrone Thunderschlong blowing her back out and making those lumps in her mattress. Sure, she wants a man who holds the door for her, while she answers the DMs from the guy who posted pics of him driving around his Bugatti Chiron. Of course, she wants a guy who simply pulls out her chair while she accepts the invite to a rich guy's yacht party, along with several dozen other girls. Am I saying all women are like this? No, I am saying compared to her mother's time, there sure are a larger percentage of women like this now. Moving on.
I'm so tired of being disappointed by men. I'm so tired of getting hurt. I'm so tired of men lying and then calling it honesty. I'm so tired of men pretending like they want to be in a relationship with you and literally pretend and act like they are in a relationship with you just for them to turn around weeks later and say they don't want a relationship with you. So what the were you doing the entire time? Were we playing pretend? How old are we? I thought we stopped playing pretend when we turned like 9. Why are we still doing it? Why are you a little boy in a man's body? Why have you not matured yet? Why do I have to be disappointed and feel like a fool every time? I'm so tired, because from what I've also learned about guys is that they know right away. They know pretty early on if they see it with you or they don't, and they're not going to waste their time if they don't see it, right? And I'm not talking about like just keeping you around, kind of breadcrumbing you just to like be able to get into your pants so that, you know, you go out on a night out so that they can text you at 2 a.m. and you come over. I'm just saying, like, I've gone through enough, I've been through enough that like I know the difference. I can usually spot the difference. I'm talking about guys that are coming over, cooking me dinner, hanging out multiple times a week, going on dates, paying for things.
Y'all heard that? She is tired of players being players. Oh, my bad. She's tired of men acting like boys. I would venture to say she is tired of the type of men she's attracted to. Keep on acting like the men she's attracted to. Queen, I have to ask a gorilla question here that has roots in my ignorance of the advanced fifis of modern dating queens. But is it possible the reason those men act the way they do is because that is exactly the way they need to act to get what they want from you? Now, it may not be limited to bedroom fun, but by the way she is describing things, it seems like there really isn't much apart from that. I have heard the argument made by many women as if a man just wants to smash, he should say that up front, anything else is dishonest. And when a woman who has dyed her hair another color, kicks on 5 pounds of makeup, wears a push-up bra with colored contact lenses, press-on nails, and uses filters on her pics says that, she obviously has more high ground than Obi-Wan to call men out for their deception. But then again, considering the apparent marginal possible double standard that women present in modern dating, we could contentiously say that both are guilty of the same thing. But who are we trying to kid here? We all know somehow, some way, it's the man's fault.
Damn, skip me.
I'm meeting their friends, they're meeting my friends. Like, very much dating, right? So you can do all of the long-term relationshipy things with me, but then turn around and say you don't see the long-term relationship with me. Everyone's like, oh my god, Lindsay, how do you deal with heartache? How do you deal with like getting rejected and getting your feelings hurt? I like don't handle it well, but the more it happens, the better I become at just like letting it go. I used to always turn it around and be like, okay, well, what happened and why me and what did I do wrong and why didn't he like me? Now there's no rhyme or reason. I've literally learned that it is nothing to do with me. And that's not to say I'm perfect. That's not to say that, like, you know, everyone has to like me. But it doesn't matter, honestly, what they tell me. It doesn't make it any better. So asking them, like, what went wrong, save yourself the time. Save yourself the text message. Save yourself. They're gonna lie. You're never gonna get the real truth. Sucks to get excited about someone and to really put your time and energy and for it to be reciprocated and for it to be going well and then for it to be taken away from you without you understanding and without getting any type of like good reason. Because most likely it has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with you. Wow, could anyone see that somehow women would absolve themselves of all responsibility of a relationship failing? Ladies, this is going to be a huge shock, but when a relationship finally ends, there is always fault on both sides, regardless of the percentage distribution. Fault is laid on both parties. I would venture to say that this ginger-haired queen will continue to have issues in her future relationships because she hasn't taken an actual self-evaluation on her negative contributions to the relationship and just defaults to the all men are bad reasoning. This is why men usually say that accountability is a woman's... There are several key questions she should be asking herself, such as, in every relationship I have been in that has failed, was it truly the other person's fault? Or, what is the common denominator in every failed relationship I have had? Or, what are some possible things I have done that can be attributed to the relationship failure? But no, that would require some deep self-evaluation, and that's a no-go in this queen's book. I have to ask, though, what actual strategy is she going to come up with in order to at least try and make her next relationship go the distance?
Who cares?
Because honestly, I think he could see a long-term relationship with me because he wouldn't have done all that he couldn't have, and it's something that he needs to deal with within himself. Either one, he's not ready for a long-term relationship, period. Not because it's with you, with anyone. And maybe you're the first girl that he actually started to see and feel a long-term relationship with, and he panicked. He freaked out. He had put his foot in the water, and he panicked and got cold feet and basically blamed it on you. When in reality, he might have some unhealed trauma, isn't over his ex-girlfriend, is stressed out. Like, you never know, but most of the time the guy is not going to take the responsibility or take the time to probably self-reflect and deep dive into why he can't see a relationship with you when you guys get along like a house on fire, and he probably won't find someone that he gets along better with in a while, and maybe he'll figure it out later and and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. But by that point it's going to be too late. So I can sit here and boo-hoo and be upset and and try to hope that he figures out what he lost, or just understand that the person that you're meant to be with won't let you go and will realize how special the person in front of them is and won't do like this.
Wait a minute. She is the one making this video while claiming the guy is the one with unhealed trauma. Okay, where is his video stating something similar? Sister, I don't like to break this to you, but unhealed trauma vibes aren't coming from the guy at this point. And wow, the guy is the one not taking the responsibility, deep diving, and self-reflection. All I can say to that is pot meet kettle. It's amazing she stated that the guy is the one who has to figure out the person he lost. Methinks that indicates he was the one who broke up with her, but I could be wrong. Ladies, I have to point out why it's not an awesome idea to make these videos and put them out on blast when your emotions are supercharged. Evidence number 1, just look at the queen in the video.
How dare you?
Okay, let me come at this from a different angle in an attempt to show how a logical progression may have been the better choice here. Firstly, talking this out with a person or a friend coming from a neutral stance would be the best option, as it allows you to contain your rant locally and get level-headed feedback. Secondly, using an online video sharing platform is no substitute for therapy. And finally, don't ever put something on the internet that you will regret later. But then again, I'm just a gorilla. Who am I to talk?
We're done here.
I'm just saying, if you enjoy this audit, click on the video in the end screen for more content. If you would like to support the channel, please follow the link in the description to donate to our beer fund, or like, subscribe, and share this video on other social media platforms. If you agree or disagree with anything about this audit, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to leave this audit right here. I'll see all of you in the next episode.